God Talk Unfiltered.
Yeah. So I have a habit of finding a story for most of these events. Sometimes it's like, you have to tell a story. And other times I do it out of the God thing. So many of my stories have to do with encounters with people, whether it was planned or not. Many times not. And I guess I have two stories that are very related, and it reminds me that you really shouldn't ignore the people around you, even if they're people you don't know. The first one, I think it was fall of 2012. I was fresh out of college, started working, and went to a Michigan State tailgate at the golf course in Ann Arbor. So if you've never been, it's better than the game. You can walk around. You don't have to drink really expensive beer or eat expensive food. You can bring your own. I do believe you have to be invited, but I think that's pretty easy. You just make friends with somebody. Pick a Michigan fan. So I went with my cousin who was a grad student, and we didn't really watch the game. We threw a football for a really long time because my arm was ridiculously sore the next day. I think I was trying to prove that I could throw a spiral. I couldn't for much longer. Had enjoyed some beers, had some food, watched people maybe make a fool of himself a little bit, get into some spats with the other team, Michigan State, that whole thing. I was like, go Michigan Tech, we don't even have a Division I football team. But and as I was getting ready to leave, I noticed this girl. She was stumbling around by herself. And I glanced over a second time, and she was kind of leaning up against a tree. And it made me very nervous that she was alone. So I went over to her and I said, can I help you? Is there somebody I can find for you? And she didn't really make a lot of sense. Obviously had been overserved. It became very clear she was not 21. I would have guessed maybe 17, high school for sure. So I said, can I call your mom? Or can you get your phone out so we can call somebody? So she gets her phone out, and it's locked. It's a cell phone. You have your digits or whatever that you got to put in. Well, she locked herself out of her phone. She couldn't remember the code to her phone. They didn't have the fingerprint thing yet. So it was going to take 20 minutes for her phone to come unlocked. And even then, I don't think she was going to know her code. So I said, okay, you tell me your mom's digits. She gave me a 15-digit number that did not start with an area code of anything near here. So I was like, okay, this isn't working. And I'm trying not to be hurried because she obviously needed help, but I was like, I can't, what am I going to do with a 17-year-old girl I don't know? I can't bring her with me. Thankfully, about 2 minutes after that, trying to get her to stand up, hoping she didn't puke on me, all that nonsense, high school and college, whatever. A security guard in a golf cart came by. It was two people. So I left this girl with a friend of mine, and I went over to him and I said, this girl needs help. I don't know what to do. Can you please help her? So I felt really bad because I didn't want to get her in trouble because I know she was a minor, but I said, you know what? It's better she's alive than otherwise. So thankfully I was able to I felt bad, but I passed her along, and I prayed that they would do right by her and find somebody who could find her parents. So that was situation one. Thank goodness. Don't ignore people who are stumbling and leaning against trees. Second one was in 2016, maybe, St. Patty's Day in Detroit. It's crazy. Everyone's out drinking. I went to Old Shillelagh's, if you're familiar. It's an Irish pub in Detroit, in Greektown. And I was there pretty late. It was late I'm pretty sure it was a work day. But, when you live in Detroit, I guess that doesn't matter too much. And I remember walking out. Thankfully, me and my friend hadn't gotten too crazy. We actually just went there for the music because they usually have a really good folk band or a bluegrass band. And, again, I'm outside waiting for my friends to come out, and there's this girl stumbling around. And she starts to talk to me, but it doesn't really, I don't really comprehend what she's saying until I figure out she can't get back into the bar because she doesn't have her driver's license with her, and her cell phone is dead, and her friends are inside, but the bouncer won't let her in. And again, I'm like, is this girl even 21? Does she actually have an ID? Because that's the first thing I asked her, and she gave me this weird story that her friend has it. Yeah, da 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 da. I was like, all right. So I'm like, okay. I looked up. She's like, I'm from Monroe. Because I'm like, maybe I can just send this girl home. No, Monroe on St. Patty's Day night. Uber drive is going to cost like $100. I was like, I'm nice, but I'm not that nice.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Again, like drunk girl on the street, don't know what to do, but I don't want her just wander in the street. So I actually walk to a police officer who's across the street, and I say, like, can you help this girl? Like, she's wasted, and can't get into the bar. She doesn't have any ID. He's like, the best I can do is let her charge her phone in the back of my car. I was like, pretty sure she's not going to do that. So then I go to the bounce. This is like last-ditch effort. I promise I'm almost done. I go to the bouncer, and I beg him. I say, sir. I don't even think I said sir. I said, yo. Detroit, like, I really need you to do me a solid. This girl needs to find her friends, and I am 90% sure they're inside. Can you please do me a favor and just let her in? And he's like, okay. So I pray, and I'm like, please let someone she knows, someone's going to take care of this girl, take care of her. So I, like, gracefully shove her in the door and just, like, walk away. And I was like, so I guess the moral of the story is just pay attention to your surroundings, because that's a God thing, and I don't know if either of those girls ended up okay, but I'm going to hope that they did. And so, yeah, we'll see if another 5 years from now, if I'm doing the same thing. Maybe I won't hang out in those types of places anymore. That's my story. Thank you.